Alright, what's up? So I wanted to break the leg press down, kind of just some ways of thinking about the leg press that I've been using lately. And it's really made my legs feel really good, made my hips feel really strong. I've been able to move a lot heavier weight, and it feels a lot better, right? So when you sit here and you look at this leg press, typically when you see a machine like this, what you're immediately going to think, unless you look at it and you think, like, look, my butt goes here, I sit here, my back goes here, right? And then my feet up here, right? Well, what I've been how I've been using the leg press lately is necessarily kind of forgetting about this little pad down here and using this pad right here, right? So if you kind of look, there's the line of force with the leg press is this direction right here, right? So when you think about lines of forces and like physics when it comes to lifting weights, because that's what lifting weights is, basically physics. You're taking masses, a weight, and you are moving it in a certain direction. You have levers and all this kind of stuff. Your body is basically made of levers, right? So when you're doing the leg press, you want to think about pushing. Not only are you moving the pad, like the platform up here on the top, but you're also pushing down that way, right? So the direction of travel, what you want to think about, is actually pushing down into this pad right here, right? So if you think about like this is my leg necessarily, and this right here is my hip bone. Okay, this is my femur, right? This is the head of my femur. Okay, and this is where my foot is, right? So you want to think about driving your femur up into this pad here, right? So now what we're doing is we are making more of a straight line of force from this point here to this point here, right? Because if we look, like that's where you want the force to be at. You don't want to be pushing into this direction here and then pushing down that way, right? Because that has no, that just doesn't work, right? So in order to get really strong and to make the leg press work really well, you have to change your direction of force that way there, right? So you're pushing as you load the weight on your feet and in your hips, you let your hips push down that direction there, okay, into your pelvis, right? And you have to get your pelvis to relax. Okay, that's the best way to think about doing it. Is getting the pelvis to loosen up, right, and fall back into that pad, right? So now another thing to look at too, when it comes to like the forces, right? The force of a leg press, which direction of travel is these forces going? Okay, I just kind of have this neat little way of kind of breaking it down. So if we look, we have two different planes, okay? So we have this plane right here, right? And then we have this plane here, right? And then in between that, we have our direction of force, which is this way here, right? So if we were just to basically just take this setup and lay it flat on the ground and turn it so this, bring this part right here down to the ground. So we take these planes, right? So we have this plane here, and we have this plane right here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two planes, and I'm just going to turn them on their side like this, okay? Because I want to show you something here, right? So, like I said, we have so I'm going to take the leg press and basically lay it on the ground, okay? Right? So we have the seat right here, okay? And then we have the platform where we put the weights at right here, right? So now if we look, the direction of force is, so like I said, this is a leg press. I just basically dropped it and I just laid it flat on the ground, okay? I laid this part right here, this bar, I laid it flat, matched it with the ground. It is matching the ground now, okay? But so when we look and what we see here is, let me get some light on this here so you can see it. This is pretty crazy, this just trips me out, right? So if we look, we have the direction of force is this way here, right, in between these 2 points, right? So what we want to think about doing is with the leg press, okay? Sorry, I'm trying to get a good spot for this. Is we want to try and create as much pressure between these 2 points as we possibly can, okay? Like that's what it's all about, right? Weight, is irrelevant, right? So as much weight as we have on the platform, and how much force is being applied to the platform, there should be an equal amount of force applied to your pelvis and the back pad right here, right? And we have this straight line here, okay? So now what happens when we apply force at this angle here, right? So then what we have is we have a deflection now. So as we're driving into the leg press platform with the weight on it, the opposite reaction of what's supposed to happen is the weight is going to want to go that way, right? So the force is going to want to react and go that way. Throw something at a wall like that and it bounces away like that, right? So now what we think about doing is we want to take these two planes right here, right? We want to match them as much as we possibly can. We want to create more of an upright plane like this here. So what we want to do now is we want to take the back pad, right? So I'm gonna show you here. This is where you'd be sitting at in the leg press. Okay, you want to take that plane and you want to change it to match and be perfectly straight, right? So now, and then we take the platform and we're gonna try and match the platform to the seat, right? So basically, what we want to do is we want to create what would this be, like perpendicular to the line of force now. So now when we see back and forth, if we were to, you know, throw a ball at a wall like this, it would just bounce back and forth, right? So now the line of force is going back and forth in between these 2 points here. And this is where you're going to create most strength at, is when you can match these 2 planes together here, right? So now I'll show you in the leg press that I have how we do that. Right, so what I've done with this one here, train your way. I like this leg press here. Alright, so this is a Star Trek leg press. So what I'm going to do now is I want to match this plane right here, okay, with this plane right here, right? So how we do that is we just bring the seat up. So right, so now if we look at these 2 planes, they're pretty even, okay? There's not much more change. You know, this back pad is all the way up, right? So now if we look, we have created a nice straight line. You know, when we push into here and we come up here, there'll be a little bit of deflection up this way here, but they're pretty even now, okay? Now, when you use it, right, so we sit on the back pad here, right, and we spit our butt down, and what I want to think about doing is I want to match this line here, right? So this is the line of force right here. The side of the machine, this line, that is in which direction the force is going. Okay, so I want to try and match my pelvis and my ankle bone to that line right there. So now if you look at my leg, okay, my leg is matching this plane right here, right? So that's my leg is matching this plane here, right? So it's nice and straight there, right? And what we do is we press into the pelvis, okay? So I'm not thinking about pushing the leg press up that way. Okay, I'm thinking about loading pressure into my pelvis right here. Okay, and once I feel my pelvis pressing into the pad, then I drive into the pad as the weight moves away from me, right? So I'm thinking about letting my femur fall back this way as I'm moving there, okay? And another way that I like to do it here, right, we do a little crunch, right? So now we're keeping the pelvis a little bit more stable by crunching our abs and sitting up a little bit, right? And getting a little bit more random motion out of our pelvis as well. So basically, as you see, we match this plane with this plane here with this plane here, right? So now we're going to create as much strength as we possibly can. And that's leg press. So let me know if you got any questions. Thanks.